Hello, my name is Martin de Saul. I'm head of the Division of Information Management, and I've been asked by my colleagues in the Computing Division, your course leaders, to just give a very brief talk about some of the modules that we're running on our MSc Information Management course that you may wish to think about taking as electives on your course. So I'm just very briefly going to go through some of the modules that we've identified that may be appropriate. And at the end of this video I'll give my contact details and a place where you can download more information about the modules. So anyway, here we go. I hope it's useful. The first module that we thought might be appropriate is CBM 23, which is Information Architecture for the Web, and all our modules run over 3 consecutive intensive days. So that module is running on the 15th, 16th and 17th of February 2010. And Information Architecture for the Web is, well, let me read you just the very brief module aims to give you a feel for what it's about. The module aims to introduce students to the principles of creating a conceptual design for the content of large-scale websites such as organizational intranets. And it also aims to teach methods and techniques for analyzing, visualizing and specifying the design of a website. So it's less about the actual building of a website and more around the thinking around how would you specify the architecture for a content management type website, intranet type website, and also thinking about the user experience in terms of, are you designing it in a way that is appropriate for the sort of people that are going to be using it. So it's more around the conceptual design issues. So that's one module. The second module is CBM 02, Research Methods, and that's running on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of March 2010. And CBM 02 is for our students, is a core module that they have to do as preparation for their final dissertation project. And it basically aims to introduce students to possible research methodologies that they might want to use in their final dissertation, and it looks at the pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses of different research methodologies, such as using primary data or collecting primary data such as through surveys, questionnaires, how to use and integrate secondary data that other people may have collected, and how to integrate that into your research projects that you're doing. So that's CBM 02, Research Methods. Thirdly, we have CBM 12, Managing Change, which is running on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of March 2010. That's a module that I teach. And basically in that module I aim to introduce students to some of the core ideas, theories around knowledge management, looking at the evolution of knowledge management over the last 20 or so years. And also it's quite a critical approach. So I raised the question at the beginning, can we actually manage knowledge? Is knowledge something, tacit knowledge for example, is that something you can manage? Can you manage what's inside people's heads? So looking at some of the more conceptual issues, but then bringing it down to earth a bit with looking at some of the tools that are used in organizations at the moment for managing knowledge, sharing information. And I have a particular focus on some of the more readily accessible and cheap web tools such as blogs and wikis, and how people are using them, and how you might think about using them in organizations that you currently work in, or maybe working in the future. So I realize that people watching this video, some of you are probably part-time students with jobs already, so there may be some practical applications there. Fourthly, we are offering CBM 10, Managing Change, which is running on the 19th, 20th and 21st of April 2010. Managing Change has a slightly more, so I'm just looking down when I get to the module outline, has a slightly more business focus perhaps, organizational focus. Where the aims of this module are to identify and critically analyse, and I think that's a crucial phrase, critically analyse, significant changes of policy and practice that have affected the information sector in recent years, as it compares and contrasts with the theoretical approaches to the management and implementation of change. Bit of a mouthful, I suppose. At a very basic level, it's looking at methods that people have used, are using, methodologies for implementing, managing change programs in organizations, how those are dealt with, from a critical perspective. So, you know, looking at where things perhaps do work, where perhaps they haven't worked, so be using case studies to make that analysis. So, you know, perhaps in these difficult economic times that may have some relevance to some people. Finally, we're offering CBM 26 developing training programs, and that's running on the 17th, 18th and 19th of May 2010. CBM 26 is a new module for us, and it emerged out of well, some research we did. A lot of our students on the MSc Information Management are currently working in information roles, typically in corporate information centres, in libraries, etc. And increasingly these people are having to train end users in how to use various information services and systems. And what we found, or what our research indicated, was that a lot of people are having to do that role but aren't really equipped and haven't really been shown some of the basic principles of how to devise a training program, and then actually how to organise it and deliver it in an effective way. So that may or may not have some relevance to you. So maybe a module you want to consider. Anyway, those are the modules we're offering for the coming academic year. Coming up in a second will be my contact details, and a link where you can download more information about these modules. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. My room is W605 on the top of the Watts building. Always happy to chat. Okay, thanks very much.